Ellen looked at herself in the big mirror. Her wedding dress was white and pretty. Her hair was neat. Her face had makeup. She looked lovely, but she was not happy. Ellen held her phone. She checked it many times. She had called Bode again and again. His phone did not answer. "Oh, Bode, where are you? Why are you not here?" Ellen whispered. Tears filled her eyes. She kept calling, but there was no answer. "Helen! Helen!" Mrs. Sam called from the hallway and walked into the room. Ellen's face showed fear. She did not want to answer. Mrs. Sam looked worried and angry. "Why is your groom not here yet, eh?" she asked. "Mommy, I don't know," Ellen said with a shaking voice. "I have been calling for a long time, but his phone will not go through." Mrs. Sam's face turned red with anger. "What do you mean his phone is not going through? I told you about that Yoruba boy, and you did not listen. I hope you will not bring shame to our family, eh?" she shouted. "I am sorry, Mommy, but it's not like that. I don't know why he's not here," Ellen cried. "Give me his number. Let me call him myself," Mrs. Sam said and took the phone. She dialed. A voice said, "The number you're trying to call is currently switched off. Please try again later. Thank you." She tried again, still no answer. Mrs. Sam looked at Ellen and shouted, "Is this how you want to bring shame to the family, eh? You are a failure." Then she left the room. Ellen felt very heavy and sad. She walked to the balcony and looked down. She hoped to see Bode, but he was not there. At that moment, she knew he would not come. Her legs could not hold her. She fell down and passed out on the floor. Ellen, a very beautiful woman, whenever she walked by, men turned their heads to look at her, and even women would whisper, "Which God made this one so perfect? She had a nice body, nice shape, good height, and carried herself with style." Ellen worked at Bab's Oil and Gas Company. She was the joy of her mother and the pride of her father. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Sam, were strict, respected, and very disciplined. They were also rich and had investments all over the country. Ellen was their only child, and they had her after many years of waiting. One day, while on official duty, Ellen met Bode. Bode was tall, handsome, and had a bright smile. The moment they saw each other, it was love at first sight. They exchanged numbers, and from that day on, they became very close. They called, texted, and checked on each other all the time. It felt like they had known each other for many years. Ellen came from Amike village in Imo State, while Bode was a Yoruba man from Osho State. Because of this tribal difference, Ellen's parents, especially her mother, were against their relationship. But Ellen and Bode believed love was stronger than tribe. Bode had lost both parents when he was just 5 years old. He grew up with his uncle in the village, later went to the university, and then moved on to the city to work. One thing Ellen noticed about Bode was that he always made long international calls to a girl named Mary. Whenever Ellen asked who Mary was, Bode would laugh and say, "She's just a friend from my university days." But Ellen did not believe him. Deep in her heart, she knew there was more between them than just friendship. Sometimes at night, Bode would sneak out of the room to talk to Mary. This made Ellen very uncomfortable. One day, she told Bode that she was not okay with him talking to the white lady all the time. Bode held her and said, "Don't worry, I will stop talking to her soon." But that soon never came. The calls and chats continued for a whole year, and Ellen's heart was never at peace. When the time came for them to plan their wedding, Ellen begged him again. She told him that Mary was becoming a big threat to her happiness, and she would not marry him unless he blocked Mary for good. This time Bode agreed and blocked every way Mary could reach him. But sadly, on the very day Ellen was to marry the love of her life, Bode never showed up. Ellen woke up to the buzzing sound of a machine beside her. She opened her eyes and saw that she was lying on a hospital bed. At once, her mother jumped up in joy. "Oh, my poor baby, thank God you are awake. I thought I'd lost you, her mother said, holding her hand. Ellen slowly sat up and asked, Mommy, what happened to me? Why am I in the hospital? Her mother told her everything. She explained how Ellen had fainted on her wedding day and had been in a coma for 15 days. She added that she had almost given up hope of Ellen waking up alive. Ellen's heart tightened as she asked, So Mommy, Body never showed up? Her mother looked at her with sad eyes and said, Forget about Body. He was never the right one for you. Tears rolled down Ellen's cheeks as she burst out crying. Her mother hugged her tightly and they wept together. A few days later, Ellen was discharged from the hospital. She decided to leave the past behind and move on with her life. Months passed and Body was gone from her mind. One day, while shopping at the supermarket, Ellen met a man named Uche. Uche was the kind of gentleman every woman wished for. He was tall, handsome, and rich. He owned a big clothing company in the city and lived in a beautiful house. They exchanged greetings and numbers. Soon, they started talking often. This time, Ellen tried to take things slow. She thought maybe with Bode, she had rushed too fast, and that was why he left her. Uche treated her with so much love and care. He took her on dates, spoiled her with gifts, and made her feel special. Ellen almost thought such love was impossible. She later introduced Uche to her parents, and they were happy with him. He was Igbo, respectful, and well-to-do. After a year of their relationship, they started planning their wedding. Ellen was excited. She felt her time to finally become a wife had come, or so she thought. On the wedding day, the hall was filled with guests. The place was beautifully decorated. The smell of food filled the air, and a live band entertained everyone. Meanwhile, Ellen was at her hotel room, getting her makeup done, when she received a message from Uche. The message read, I am sorry, babe, but you have to do this wedding without me. I can't do this with you anymore. I am sorry, Uche. Ellen's heart tightened. Oh my God, not again, she screamed. Her parents rushed into the room. What is it, my baby? Her father asked. Ellen couldn't speak. Tears filled her eyes. Her lips quivered as she handed her phone to her father. He read the message and fell on the bed, holding his head in shock. Her mother grabbed the phone, read the message too, and collapsed on the chair. Jesus, what is this again? Why are these things happening to us? Her mother cried. Ellen's whole body shook as she cried uncontrollably. Why me? Why me again? She sobbed. Her makeup was ruined as tears streamed down her face. Her mother rushed to her side, holding her tightly. My daughter, don't cry too much. Please don't hurt yourself. You will not die like this. God will fight for you, she said, though her own tears poured freely. Her father stood up slowly, his hands on his head. This is shame, double shame. First, Body, now Uche. Why must men disgrace my only child like this? He paced the room, unable to believe what had happened. Outside, the guests were laughing, eating, and waiting for the bride and groom to arrive. They did not know that in the hotel room, Ellen's world was crashing for the second time. Ellen fell to her knees and cried bitterly. Maybe I am cursed, Mommy. Maybe I will never marry. Why is this happening to me? She wailed. Her mother knelt down beside her. Don't talk like that, my child. You are not cursed. You are special. The devil wants to break you, but he will not win. One day, a man who truly loves you will come. Ellen shook her head in disbelief. She felt empty, broken, and lost. She had given her heart twice, and both times it had been crushed. News of Uche's disappearance soon spread to the guests. People began to whisper, point fingers, and gossip. Some pitied Ellen, but others mocked her, saying maybe she was the problem. Ellen's father could not bear the shame. He ordered the guests to leave the church and return home. Slowly, one by one, they all emptied, and the joyful music stopped. The wedding that was supposed to be our happiest day had turned into another nightmare. That night, Ellen locked herself in her room. She refused to eat, refused to talk, and cried until her eyes were swollen. Her parents stood by the door praying for her and begging God to heal their daughter's broken heart. Several weeks passed. Ellen grew thinner and quieter. She no longer smiled. She no longer believed in love. All she wanted was peace. She decided that maybe marriage was not for her. Maybe she should focus on her career and forget about men completely. But deep inside, a small voice kept whispering, "Your story is not over yet." As time passed, Ellen began to forget her painful past. She told herself that she would never give love a chance again. But one night, as she slept, she had a strange nightmare. In her dream, she saw her childhood friend Rebecca. Rebecca was holding 2 bottles in her hands. Inside one bottle was Buddy's name, and inside the other bottle was Uche's name. Ellen stepped close and asked, "Rebecca, why are you holding these bottles? Why are their names inside them?" But Rebecca did not answer. Instead, she laughed loudly, her voice echoing in the dark dream. Then she said, "I am not done with you yet. By the time I am through with you, you will understand why you should never betray a friend who trusted you deeply." Ellen woke up suddenly, panting heavily. Her heart beat fast. She wondered why she had seen Rebecca in her dream after so many years, and why Rebecca spoke about betrayal. What did the bottles mean? And what did she even mean by not being done with her? Ellen lay in bed thinking about the past. Rebecca had been a very pretty and quiet girl who lived in the village with her aunt. Ellen had met her during visits with her parents to their hometown. They became close, almost like sisters. Rebecca loved Ellen dearly and trusted her with everything. She shared her secrets, her fears, her problems, and her dreams with her. Rebecca's parents had died when she was young, and she was an only child. Having Ellen as a friend was like having the sister she never had. Whenever Ellen visited the village, both of them loved to go to the river nearby. They would sing, dance, and play by the water. Even though Rebecca was afraid of water, she always felt safe whenever Ellen was with her. Rebecca had one precious treasure, a golden chain. Her mother gave her before she died. She cherished it with her whole heart. One day, while they were playing, Ellen asked Rebecca to give her the golden chain, promising she would return it soon. Out of love and trust, Rebecca gave it to her. But Ellen took the chain to the city and decided never to return it. Later, when Ellen and her parents visited the village again, Rebecca was excited to see her best friend. After a few days, Rebecca asked Ellen about the golden chain, but Ellen could not provide it. Rebecca begged her to return it, saying it meant the world to her. Instead of returning it, Ellen smiled and asked Rebecca to go with her to the river, like they used to. Rebecca agreed, never suspecting any harm. They danced and played as usual, but then Ellen saw her chance. She pushed Rebecca hard into the river. Rebecca struggled, cried, and fought to come out, but she drowned that day. Ellen ran home pretending nothing had happened. That was the last time anyone ever saw Rebecca alive. From that night after the dream, Ellen could not sleep well again. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Rebecca's face. Sometimes Rebecca would appear wet, dripping water, holding the golden chain in her hand. Other times, Ellen would hear her laughing in the dark. The same laugh from the dream. Ellen became restless. She grew thinner. Even at work, she would hear whispers of her name when no one was around. She often looked behind her, but nobody was there. One evening, as she was walking home, she saw 2 small bottles lying on her doorstep. Fear gripped her chest. When she bent down to look, she saw Buddy's name written on one and Uche's name on the other, just like in the dream. Ellen screamed and ran inside, locking all her doors and windows. That night, she called her mother and cried, "Mommy, something strange is happening to me. I keep seeing Rebecca. You know Rebecca now, my childhood friend. She says I betrayed her." Her mother was shocked. "Rebecca, that girl who drowned years ago. Ellen, are you okay, my baby? Hey, maybe it is just your mind playing tricks, oh." But Ellen shook her head. No, mommy, it feels real. She won't leave me alone. From that day on, things got worse. Plates would fall off the shelves in her kitchen on their own. The light in her room would flicker. Sometimes she would wake up in the middle of the night to find her bed wet, as if she had been sleeping inside a river. One night, Ellen heard a knock on her door. She opened it slowly, but no one was there. Instead, lying on the floor was the golden chain, the very same one she had taken from Rebecca many years ago. Ellen froze. Her hands shook as she picked it up. Then she heard a voice behind her whisper, I am not done with you yet. Ellen turned quickly, but no one was there. She dropped to her knees, crying bitterly. Rebecca, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I was childish then. She wept, but the air grew cold and she felt water dripping down her back, though there was no water anywhere around. From that moment, Ellie knew Rebecca's spirit had returned for revenge. While these strange and frightening things were happening, Ellen confided in her best friend Stella. Stella listened carefully and then decided to take Ellen to her church. The pastor prayed for Ellen and told her, you must go on 7 days of fasting and prayer. Cry to God for mercy and forgiveness. Ellen obeyed. She fasted, prayed and wept every day. She begged God to forgive her for all her sins, especially the one against Rebecca. On the 7th day, Ellen had another dream. This time, she saw Rebecca sitting by the riverbank, crying. Ellen went close, knelt beside her and begged, please forgive me, my sister. I am sorry. Rebecca looked at her and said, you ended my life because I loved and trusted you so much. If you want my spirit to rest, return my golden chain to the river where you drowned me. Then I will forgive you completely. Ellie woke up crying. The next morning, she called her pastor and told him the dream. He agreed to travel with her to her hometown. And together with Stella, they went straight to the river. At the riverbank, the pastor prayed and prayed. He called on Rebecca's spirit. Ellen held the golden chain in her hands, knelt down and begged her late friend for forgiveness. With tears in her eyes, she threw the chain into the river. At that very moment, Ellen felt a heavy load lift from her heart. For the first time in years, she felt peace. From that day on, Ellen's life returned to normal. She stopped seeing nightmares and hearing strange voices. Peace filled her home again. Not long after, she met a kind, handsome man named Frank. Unlike the others, Frank was honest, caring and true. They dated for only 6 months before they had a very grand wedding. Her parents were filled with joy, celebrating that at last their shame had turned into honor. The moral lesson of the story is that a single act of betrayal can destroy love, trust, and even a life. Greed may shine like gold, but in the end, it brings only sorrow. True friendship is a treasure that must never be exchanged for selfish gain. Yet, even when our sins rise against us, God's mercy is greater. When we humble ourselves, confess and seek forgiveness, He can turn shame into joy. So let us live with clean hands, value those who trust us, and never let temporary desires make us throw away eternal peace. The end. Thank you, lovelies, for watching the story to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, if you do, kindly subscribe, comment, like, and lastly, do not forget to share. And until I cross your path again, remain blessed and always remember, God loves you.